today I changed my posture in conducting today's sermon. Is it okay?
Yes, Bhante.
Because today in this talk we are going to discuss on Buddha's mission. Therefore, I want you to show even some maps how Buddha's mission occurred at the time of the Buddha, and after the Buddha's Parinibbana, great demise, how it was developed, how expansion of Buddhism occurred in India and outside. Therefore, in order to show all these things, I suppose that the most convenient posture is standing posture. That is why I wanted to change that. Okay. Otherwise, someone will think that traditionally, when preaching Dhamma, the Dhamma preacher should be sitting on the chair. That is a traditional way. But in certain circumstances, we have to change the style of postures to make more convenient to the listeners or the audience. Okay, that is why we have made that change. So before talking about Buddha's mission, we should identify who is the Buddha. Who is the Buddha? Buddha once has defined himself saying that abhinyayam abhinyatam bhave tabbancha bhavitang pahatabbang pahinang me tasma buddhosmi brahmana. That is a quotation from a significant sutta regarding the Buddha, how he introduced himself. There are three major characteristics to identify the Buddha. One is abhinyayam abhinyatam. It means that what is to be known is known by me. Buddha said that what is to be known is known by me. What he realized? Four Noble Truths. Right? The Buddha's realization was based on Four Noble Truths. Suffering, dukkha, cause of suffering, dukkha samudaya, cessation of suffering, dukkha nirodha, and the path leading to the cessation of suffering, dukkha nirodha gamini patipada ariya satya. That is the fundamental teaching that the Buddha realized. Right? Buddha said that. So this Four Noble Truths includes all the things in this universe. That is why Buddha said, what is to be known is known by me. Then bhave tabbancha bhavitam. What is to be developed is developed by me. What did the Buddha develop? He developed three paths, three ways. At the very beginning, before the enlightenment, he developed self-mortification. Secondly, he developed self-indulgence. Right? After developing these two extremes, two paths, Buddha decided that, Bodhisattva decided that this is not the proper way in developing the mind. Then what he did was, he completely changed his path to the Noble Eightfold Path, which is known as Majjhima Patipada, middle path, which consists of 8 factors, Samma Ditti up to Samma Samadhi. Okay? So what did the Buddha develop is basically Noble Eightfold Path, which is known as Samma Samadhi. In order to develop up to that level, he used different types of meditation, right? Samatha and Vipassana. Insight meditation, calmness meditation, these two had been used, right? Through that, what he did was he developed his mind at most level by practicing these types of meditations and so on. And thirdly, Buddha says that Pahatappang pahinam me, I have eliminated what is to be eliminated. Eliminate means wipe out, eradicate. What did the Buddha eradicate? All the defilements, attachment, lust, greediness, and whatever the defilements had been eliminated by the Buddha. So Buddha said that when he comes into the status of free from all the defilements, it means that he had realized the Buddhahood. That is the Buddha, right? Before starting Buddha's mission, what I wanted to introduce is who is the Buddha. Now we know that Buddha is the one who enlightened, right? One who realized the nature of the world and everything. Therefore, that is basically the major, the introduction to Buddha. What is the purpose of Buddha's teaching? What is the purpose of Buddha's teaching? His teaching depends on two aspects, two objectives, right? As we studied even in earlier sutta classes, he advised his disciples to materially growth in material. On the other hand, he instructed his disciples how to attain enlightenment spiritually by eradicating all the defilements, right? In these two aspects, Buddha has instructed his disciples. One is to develop materially, second is to develop spiritually. Material growth, material development depends on how to increase the economic stability and whatever it is. Spiritual development, that talks about how to attain enlightenment by eradicating all the defilements. These two aspects. Another thing is that the Buddha's teaching, according to his words, he said that Ubbe Ananusutesu Dhammesu. What does it mean? The Dhamma I have realized is a novel which has not discovered by any other teacher earlier. Ubbe Ananusutesu Dhammesu. It is a kind of novel teaching, new teaching which did not discovered by any other religious teachers by the time of the Buddha. Because we know that thousands of hundreds of religious teachers were there, prevailed in the time of the Buddha. They introduced different types of teachings, but they could not really realize what is the real nature of the world. Okay, that is why Buddha's teachings is identical rather than other teachings. Then, by the time of the Buddha, Buddhism was spread soon in India. Okay, What are the causes that led to the rapid expansion of Buddhism in India during the time of the Buddha? As we know, Buddha got enlightenment. After that, he practiced 7 weeks in noble silence. Then the Brahma came and invited the Buddha to preach Dhamma. After that, he started his mission to 5 ascetics, right? That is a historical information regarding Buddha's mission. While he was preaching Dhamma to 5 ascetics, by listening to first sermon, which is known as Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, who got realized? Kondani, one of the ascetics of 5. Then Buddha preached another suttas for other people, other ascetics too, for them to get realization. From that initial stage of the Buddha's mission, within a short period of time, Buddha was very successful religious teacher because of his success of his mission. So what are the causes that led to his mission to be successful? There are 4 major reasons as you see here. One is called Buddha as the teacher, the teacherhood of the Buddha. As a teacher, how he became very identical person. Okay. Second one is that appeal of the Dhamma, the significance of the Dhamma preached by the Buddha. Third one is called strength of the Sangha, how capacity, how dedication made by the members of the Sangha. And fourth one we can include 2 other reasons, right? These are the 4 major causes that led to the rapid expansion of Buddhism in India during the time of the Buddha. Before talking about this, I will show you how expansion of Buddhism occurred during the time of the Buddha with certain maps. Here you can see India, right? This is the India, the continent of Indian map. This talks about the middle land. Middle land means what? Madhya Pradesh. In modern we call Bihar. Okay? Bihar is the state that the Buddha was born. Buddha lived. Even Magadha, Kosala, such countries existed in India, is called this middle land, Madhya Pradesh. The Buddha's birth of Lumbini is situated nearby Madhya Pradesh, right? Middle land. Then Buddha's passing away at Kusinara occurred in the same location. Isipatana, where the Buddha conducted first sermon, is available in the same location. And Uruela, where the Buddha preached Dhamma, is also available in this same area. Okay. Now you see that from the birth to the passing away, entire the Buddha's journey had been limited to this kind of a very, very limited area by the time of the Buddha. Can understand what I say? It means that during the time of the Buddha, his mission was very limited into a significant area which is known as Madhya Pradesh. Okay. Then we'll move on to the next. This map shows the same land, Madhya Pradesh or middle land, Bihar state. First Buddhist Council conducted, as you know, Rajagaha. Right? Rajagaha is situated in here, the same land, where the Magadha king Bindisara lived. Secondly, second council was conducted in Vesali. Vesali also in the same land. And third council occurred, we call Patali Gama Patali Putra Patna in the modern India, which includes the same time, same area. You see that how Buddhism was limited in India during the time of the Buddha. Buddha's mission was very limited by the lifetime of the Buddha according to this map. Okay. As you know, India is a very big country. It says that equivalent to Sri Lanka, India is 60 equivalent to Sri Lanka, right? Very big country. So in such a country, the Buddha's mission occurred in such situation. Let's move on to this map. As we know, Third Buddhist Council is the landmark in the history of Buddhism. Why it is called landmark? Theravada Buddhism, which was limited to India, only Bihar state, started to spread outside the Indian continent. Outside countries of India started after the Third Buddhist Council. Okay. Here you can see this is the point where the Pataliputra, right, the capital of Magadha kingdom located. The capital of Magadha kingdom located, Pataliputra. Then what happened? In Third Buddhist Council, Emperor Ashoka sent 9 missionaries to the 9 different countries inside the India as well as outside. Okay, inside the India as well as outside. Here you can see this downside Swarna Bhumi. Swarna Bhumi means what? The areas nowadays we are talking about Thailand, Myanmar, Thailand, Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos, even Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam. These countries belong to the Swarna Bhumi in ancient time, which is known as the one continent. Nowadays they have become different independent states, right? Malaysia is one state. Cambodia, Laos, even the Thailand, Myanmar, different states. In ancient time, Ashoka's period, all these countries had been attached to the Ashoka's empire. Okay, which is called Swarna Bhumi. Even now we are talking about Buddhism in Malaysia. It has arrived from India through this way. Then here Lanka Deepa, you know. What is Lanka Deepa? Sri Lanka. In ancient time it was known as Tamba Panni. Okay. Here Maharashtra. Maharashtra is another state which belongs to India even today. Maharashtra, one of the states of India even today. Then here Himalaya. Himalaya, you know, it is located Nepal, nearby Nepal. Nepal, Pakistan, that area, Himalaya. And this is called what we Kashmir. Kashmir means the location in between India and Pakistan, right? In between India and Pakistan, nowadays they are making political struggles for obtaining the land Kashmir. Then here Gandhara. Gandhara means modern Pakistan. In ancient time, Gandhara was belonged to India. You know Gandhara art, right? Nowadays what happened? It has become a separate state which is known as Pakistan, but entire Indian art, Gandhara art, is located in Pakistan today. Now it has become a Muslim country, but the remainings of the Buddhist art exist even today. Okay? Now I see that some of you are sleeping. I just want you to wake up first. When I am teaching in the classes, I will go around, but with this mic I cannot go. Then if the students are sleeping, I will make like this. Okay? What happened? Oh, right. Now, this is a Kashmir, and then this is Alexandria and Athens. Athens, Greece, right? And Greek. You see how the Buddhism that had been existed by the time of the Buddha into a single state, how it became globalized religion as a result of Third Buddhist Council is clearly pointed out through this map. Okay? What does it say? Buddha's mission, it was successfully spread outside the India, even in apart from the Madhya Pradesh, middle area of the Magadha kingdom, and that area was started to spread after the Third Buddhist Council. This is the spread of Theravada Buddhism. Why we call Theravada Buddhism? Ashoka, by the Ashoka's period, Third Buddhist Council was conducted, Theravada tradition. That is why Theravada Buddhism had been sent to different states like this. Okay? That symbolizes the expansion of Buddhism. Then, spread of Mahayana Buddhism. What is Mahayana? This tradition was started after the Fourth Buddhist Council, which held in the 1st century AD. Right? 1st century AD. Here South India, Malaya, Cambodia, Sumatra, Java and Bali, they belongs to Indonesia. Sumatra, Java and Bali, they belong to Indonesia. Through the Malaysia, Mahayana Buddhism had been even to Cambodia by the time. For Buddhist Council, Kanishka, one of the emperors in India, he started to propagate Mahayana Buddhism to outside countries. How he propagated? When we start in Mahayana tradition, certain bhikkhus have been migrated to China and the other countries through the Silk routes. Right? Silk routes located, you know what the Silk route is, right? Silk routes located India to Europe. There were two major, what we call right, this is the Silk route. There are two routes belong to that. One was located by the sea. Another one was located by the land. Right? Here is the China. This is the Europe. Silk routes had been, located in between China and Europe, so that transport the silk clothes which had been the garments which had been silk garments which had been created in China to transport them into Europe. Right? This is located, this area is known as Central Asia. There are certain Kashgar, Turfan, Dunhuan, Kucha, Khotan. They are the certain, the lands where the Central Asia had been existed. Right? This route is called, this area is called Central Asia in ancient time. Nowadays what happened? Central Asia had also become different states. Right? This is the map of Central Asia. Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, even Pakistan, they belong to Central Asia. All Islam countries, now they have become independence, Muslim states by today. In ancient time, they have completely become the Buddhist countries, Buddhist state where Mahayana Buddhism existed. Right? Which simply say, I will show you one, this is located in China. We call Dunhuan, right? In Dunhuan, this is called the caves of 1,000 Buddhas, right? In Central Asia, in this temple, there are thousands of Buddha images, different types, which belongs to Gandhara tradition, which symbolizes the existence of Buddhism by that time, in ancient time. Recently, we know that the Bamyan statues, right? Bamyan Buddha statues in Afghanistan is completely destroyed, that they symbolize the existence of Buddhism in Central Asian region. Okay. Here it is said that more than 2,000 Buddha statues have been found already, right? The same number had been ruined in the history, which symbolizes the existence of very prosperous in Buddhism by the time. Okay. Since the time is not limited, I am not going to show everything like that. So what I wanted to say is that the Buddhism, Mahayana Buddhism, that originated in India had been migrated to certain Far East countries as a result of that council. This is the Silk Route as I show you. Xi'an means China, and it has been located through Gandhara. This area is known as Central Asia. Okay, through Central Asia, these Silk Routes had been located, and through that Mahayana Buddhism spread to Far East countries. Again, this is how spreading from how Buddhism reached to the different countries in Far East. Okay, this is a Xi'an. Xi'an means China. For the first time, Mahayana Buddhism that originated in India had been migrated to China through the Silk Routes by the missionary monks who have been there. Right? After that, Buddhism from China had been migrated to Korea. Buddhism that reached to China had been migrated to Korea as a result of that. Again, even Vietnam. This is talking about Mahayana Buddhism. And then from Korea again, Buddhism reached to Japan. Buddhism reached to Japan. Right? Here you see how Mahayana Buddhism nowadays, China, Japan, Korea, they are known as Mahayana Buddhist countries, where Mahayana Buddhism is spread mostly. Right? How its expansion mission started is clearly shows through this map. It says that the Fourth Buddhist Council, after Fourth Buddhist Council, Buddhism started to go for the migrate to Far East countries, including China, Korea, and Japan. Okay. Then again, now again you can see the difference. What happens? This is the Buddha's early career, right? The areas where Buddha preached Dhamma is clearly pointed out. Savatthi, Kosala, Sakya, Kapilavattu, Kushinara, Malla, Vajji, Vesali, Magadha, Rajagaha, Uruvela, Isipatana, Varanasi, right? They are the countries, they are the areas where the Buddha preached Dhamma. Go here and there by preaching Dhamma. All those areas they are in the same Magadha state, small location. Okay. Then let's move on to the Buddha's, rainy retreats, Vassana. Okay. Buddha practiced Vassana season 45, according to the Buddha's biography, where he had practiced that. Here you see Savatthi, 1420 to 45. All Vassana seasons Buddha had resided there. Then Kapilavastu 15th. Alavi, Alau Kingdom 10th. Vesali 5 and 45. Nalakagama 11th. Rajagaha 2, 4, 17, 20. Sipatana 1st. Kosambi area 9, 10 and 12. Entire 45 years of the Buddha's mission had been located to same limited area in India. No more. It means that Buddha has not given outside, even in India, by the time of the Buddha. He had been different, the same location in different villages like that. Entire 45 Buddha's ready retreats periods, how he spent is clearly mentioned here. Again, the Buddha's last tour. Last tour means his visit to Malla kingdom from Kosala Savatthi. He had visited like this, right? Finally, the same area. This symbolizes then the distribution of the relics. Just after the Buddha's Parinibbana, relics had been distributed. They have been taken by the Kapilavattu, Kushinara, Ramagama, Pava. It is mentioned 9 or 10 groups of rulers who had obtained the relics of the Buddha. They also belong to same area. Here what I wanted to say is, by the time of the Buddha, Buddhism had been so limited. By the time of the Buddha, it has been so limited in limited area. But after first, second and third Buddhist councils, what happened? Buddha's mission, even though Buddha passed away, it has been spread outside countries by his disciples. By the time of the Buddha, as a teacher, he was successful in spreading his Dhamma to the people due to few reasons. What are they? One is Buddha's appearance. Okay? One is Buddha's appearance. It means that the physical body, many people attracted the Buddha. Not like us. Many people attracted the Buddha because his complexion, the nature of his, the body consists of 32 body marks, 80 sub-marks and so on, right? Mahapurusha Lakkhana and so on. Then the personality, internal qualities possessed by the Buddha, compassion, wisdom, even the patience, something like that, right? Equanimity, certain internal qualities. There is exemplary life of the Buddha. He respected practicing rather than advising. Most of the people are advising but they are not practicing. But Buddha became very exemplary person, right? Yathavadi tathakari, what he did, what he said. He said what he did. That exemplary situation, the nature. Then Buddha became a formidable speaker. Very successful, formidable speaker. And extraordinary teaching skills. According to the time, according to the intention of the people, according to the situation, Buddha selected lessons in preaching Dhamma to the people. Okay? Here are certain reasons that led to the expansion of Buddhism in India during the time of the Buddha. Buddha's mission was successful even the Buddha's time due to these reasons. Then Dhamma. What was the Dhamma realized by the Buddha? It was very simple. Simplicity. Then no intricate and baffling metaphysical questions. Right? In Buddhism, Buddha's teachings had no metaphysical questions. When certain monks were raised questions regarding metaphysical matters, Buddha set them aside without giving an answer, since they are not important for them to their realization. And emphasis on reason and individual judgment, we know these things. Buddha has given the reasoning and judgments to make judgments by themselves, not given that status, that potentiality to any other superhuman god or any other being like that. Then use of simple layman language, Magadhi Bhasha, Pali language used by the Magadha kingdom. Buddha used that language for preaching Dhamma. And entire the Buddha's teachings were based on morality, moral conduct. Therefore, it was very easy for the people to understand. Then strength of the Sangha. This is very important. Because of the strength of the Sangha, Buddhism is survived even today throughout the world. Now we are talking about Buddha had passed away for more than 200 and 2500 years ago, but Buddhism still exists. Why? Because of the strength of the Sangha, the members of the Sangha who continues the Buddha's teachings in tradition. When the number of bhikkhus were 60 arahants, Buddha advised them, Charatha bhikkhave charikam bahujanitaya bahujana sukhaya. O monks, go forth in preaching Dhamma for the sake of well-being of the gods and devas and brahmas, even the humans. Go doorstep of those people, right, to preach Dhamma. Desetha bhikkhave dhammang adi kalyanang madhye kalyanang paryosana kalyanang. Buddha said that you have to preach Dhamma lovely at the beginning, lovely in the middle, and lovely at the end. Satam, meaningful. The Dhamma you preach should be meaningful. Sabhyanjana, there should be interrelationship when preaching Dhamma. Kevala Paripunnam, the Dhamma should be very perfect. Buddha said that you go forth and preach Dhamma for the well-being of the people, including devas and brahmas. So that advice is even today practiced by the monks, Buddha's disciples, without having any other expectations like that. Then other reasons, now Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha and its contribution is clear, and it cannot be survived only by the Sangha or Dhamma or Buddha. Then what are the things? The royal patronage and the devotees' contribution is very important. Dhamma cannot be survived alone. Sangha cannot be survived alone. The devotees like you, your contribution is very much appreciated in making success of the Buddha's mission. and especially contribution of women folks. Why I am saying that? Even many countries, even in Sri Lanka, the personal experience, the women are the driving force of spreading Buddhism and safeguarding Buddhism. I am not saying that the lay people doesn't do that. They do their duty well, but sometimes all other duties are being managed by the women folk. Even by the time of the Buddha, even nowadays. Right? They are giving a great contribution in making success of the Buddha's mission. Therefore, through today's talk, what I wanted to say is how 2500 years, more than that, Buddhism prevails and Buddha's mission was spread throughout the world. Nowadays we are talking about Tibetan Buddhism, which arrived to Tibet. We call Tantrayana, Tantrikism, Tantric Buddhism. Right? It is another form of Buddhism which originated from Mahayana. Even Vajrayana, where Bhutan and other countries, Mongolia and other countries practice, they have another form like that. However, the Theravada is the original form of the Buddha's teaching. Original form of the Buddha's teaching. Later on, with certain additions and as a result of giving new interpretations to the Buddha's teachings, it became different types of Buddhism came into existence. Okay? Now, what we need to identify is the Buddha's mission by the time of the Buddha was limited into certain area. After the Buddha's Parinibbana, what happened? It became a global religion as a result of the far-sighted actions of the ancient kings and lay people, even the monks, for their contribution. So through that maps and the information, you really identified what happened and how Buddhism spread of Buddhism occurred in India and outside. Okay? So any question?
Okay, Bhante, I got one question. What is the difference that we killing an animal and
Sorry?
what is the difference that we killing an animal and we are taking some vegetable? What is the difference? Is it we do some killing or not for the vegetable? We cut and chicken, we are doing a killing.
Yeah.
That
In Buddhism, it is totally rejected.
okay.
In Buddhism is a non-violence. That is the one of the major characteristics of Buddhism. It was a non-violence religion. It leads to non-violence, right? Buddhism says that don't kill anyone, even don't harm anyone, including a wild beast, right? Don't make a conscious of killing. That is also a demeritorious, unwholesome thought. Therefore, there is no place for violence in Buddhism.
Okay, two questions.
Mm-hmm.
One, in today's talk, you talk about the expansion of Buddhism.
Yeah.
What is a possible reason for the destruction of Buddhism in India, in Pakistan, and in Central Asia? Question number one. Second question, you are talking about the female contribution to Buddhism. So what is the justification for the so-called anti-ordination of certain senior monk on female and the status of female in Buddhism?
Right, correct. First question, the reasons that led to the decline of Buddhism, right? Deterioration of Buddhism in India and outside. That's correct. There are two major reasons. One is the internal factors It means that certain issues occurred inside the Buddhism. With the, we'll say one example. Except Theravada, early Buddhism, new traditions came into existence, right? Like Vajrayana, Tantrayana, like that. So the monks were divided into different schools, different sects. Due to that, on one hand, Buddhism started to deteriorate. On the other hand, the most influential factor is that, unfortunately, should say that is because of the Muslim invasions. Why I am saying that, Nalanda University, you have heard about Nalanda University, I have pictures, but I have no time to show them. When the monks were having, very, scholarly monks were there. More than 10,000 monks studied in Nalanda who came from throughout the world, including China, Korea, Japan and the other countries. When they were having their lunch, right, by, keeping them inside, they fired. An entire Nalanda University and such universities had been destroyed in India. On the other hand, most of the historical and important places in India had been destroyed by them in order to, with the intention of wiping Buddhism from the land of India. So it happened even in other countries, right?
Bhante, why did Hinduism manage to survive from the Muslim invasion and not Buddhism?
Sorry?
Why is Hinduism survive and not Buddhism?
Yeah, Hinduism survives, we can see that. Even Buddhism survives, but the problem is that they have been deteriorated for some extent. Now, even in India, now they have become, that is an issue. Even though they does not show that has occurred. One is I don't know what is the reason for them to have such kind of mentality towards Buddhism. But however, they have even attacks to Hinduism too. But because of the Indian continent, Indian context, since the Hinduism became powerful rather than Buddhism, they survived for some extent rather than Buddhism. But Buddhism, since it is an non-violence religion, another point is that Buddhist people did not want to harm anyone. While they were making such kind of tragedies on Buddhism, Buddhist people practiced loving kindness. Then what happened? They continued that situation. Yes.
Namo Buddhaya. I want to ask one question. And you see some pretty dead animal there. What should we do to give them peace or reincarnation? Can we do anything?
Give peace.
Give the dead animals or anything, like pity them, go for reincarnation. Some won't go. They will revenge. Become ghosts and revenge the person who killed them. Actually, how to rectify this kind of situation?
Buddhism has clearly shown the way that we have to practice, okay? It means that how to be non-violence. As I said earlier talks, one should take oneself into exemplary. Since if you doesn't like for others to be hurting you, making disturbance to you, killing you, by taking that into example, you have to avoid killing other animals. Everyone likes to have a very peaceful life. That is the nature of each and every beings in this universe. No one doesn't like punishments or killing or such kind of harassments. The problem is that everyone, the people, they like their life, they love their life, but they don't love others. That is what the Buddha said, you should practice loving kindness, everyone, including wild beasts, small insects. Just as a mother would protect her own child, at the expense of her life, we have to think of that mentality towards others. By the present, people love oneself, one's property, doesn't care others. That is the major issue in front of that.
Okay,
Yes.
on the women ordination.
Yeah.
Justification.
The last question, okay? Because Bhante Vinith is waiting for me to. He was peeping on the outside again and again, and then came inside to fetch me. Okay. Then you were talking about women, right?
Justification.
As I said earlier, the women had done a great job in the mission of Buddha's teachings. It is undoubted. No words to say that, right? It means that even by the time of the Buddha, we know about the Sujata, Vishaka, certain lay women like that who contributed. On the other hand, just after the establishment of Bhikkhuni order, after the 5th years of the Buddha's enlightenment, they contributed another way, spiritual way in the expansion of Buddhism by establishing Bhikkhuni order in India and the other countries, right? Then, while certain groups of women, they contributed as upasika or the lay clergies, lay women, for the survival of Buddhism. Other people, other group, they having ordained, they contributed to the survival of Dhamma and so on, in different ways. However, later on, it was very contributed, but due to certain reasons, Bhikkhuni order fallen down. That is what even the Buddha said. 3 times Buddha rejected when they asked. The reason, Buddha said, just as the sasana, Buddhist dispensation is similar to a very flourished, a paddy field. It gives much harvest. When the Bhikkhuni ordination is given, its value would be decreased up to half. In the same way, the sasana will be existed 10,000 years. When the Bhikkhuni ordination is started, it would be decreased up to 5,000, like that. There are certain socio-economic, biological and other many reasons like that. However, that situation occurred, but they are without anything, they are, even today, they are contributing to the survival of Buddhism even today.